Where are you, Mr. Landlord? Tenants, they definitely need you right now. We're going to talk about the chronic shortage just this week that's appeared, particularly on the northern beaches in DY. Stay tuned.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, Xanth. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. Tell us what you do at Novak. Who are you?
Oh, I'm just a lady behind the scenes. I hide in the shadows and prepare everything ready to get a property listed live. So that's who I am. I'm the lurker in the shadows.
Lurk in the shadows, and I'm a real estate agent on the northern beaches, and we've got an observation to make that's pretty scary, and it goes a little bit something like this. 10,000 units in our suburb, 9,600 to be exact. This morning, if you search units in our suburb, there's 27 units for rent. So out of 10,000 properties, there's only 27 units to rent. Normally there's hundreds of options. Yeah. And this is a chronic shortage of stock.
Chronically short, it's crazy. Out of 10,000 units, and we are speaking right now DY specific, to only have 27 available. I'm sure, Mark, in your 30-plus year career in real estate, this must be one of the lowest rental unit numbers that you've seen for DY.
In 30 years of real estate, I've never witnessed such a lack of rental stock on the market. I think it is unbelievable. I was talking to the lovely Tom Panos last night about it. It is just, it's scary. It's absolutely scary. And what are we doing about it?
Well, what are we doing about it? I mean, in the background, you've got things like a rental commissioner that's supposedly coming in. There are more units being built at the moment in DY, but they're still years away from completion. So I think it does just go to show how much we do really need more properties available for people to rent.
It's a really, really scary number of I guess the prospect of what we've actually got to do to generate more. I think the knee-jerk reaction to people is, I guess landlords often just go, okay, well, I'm going to put my rents up because of that, take advantage, which is bad. But they're going through higher costs with interest rates and stuff like that. Tenants, it's a hard environment at the moment where people are finding it hard with higher interest rate environments. Cost of living is consolidating a little bit. Bringing back the landlord is something I reckon would be pretty cool. The incentive for a landlord to buy hasn't been strong in the last probably 10, 20, 30 years. There's been lots of first home buyer grants. But I think if you can bring back the landlord or the trend of people buying properties to rent them out, I think that would ease the rental market, and that can happen relatively quickly. To be doing that. Xanth, we did some mathematics this morning and data looking at different parts of Sydney. So we looked at Chatswood, we looked at Sydney CBD, we looked at
Bondi Beach.
What was the other ones?
Bondi Beach. So I suppose we did just want to kind of look at outside of DY, if this is just DY specific or if it is bigger than us, and it absolutely is bigger than just the beaches. So for example, looking at other high density places with a lot of units such as Chatswood, unit wise you're looking at roughly 8,300 units for that particular suburb, whereas on the market for rent at the moment there are only 97 available. So the shortage is quite comparable to DY, and it still goes to show just how much there is a lack of rental properties available on realestate.com for Chatswood. moving wider across the bridge over to Bondi Beach. So Bondi Beach, they've got 6,200 units. For rent, they've only got 62. And then taking it across into Sydney.
What's it like? So it looks like DY is probably the hardest place to rent with these numbers at the moment, but they're all pretty close to each other. What other suburbs we got?
So then looking at the Greater Sydney, so Sydney CBD, so 16,000 units, they've only got 220 available for rent.
Yeah, wow.
So it's spread across the board. It's not just the northern beaches. It does go throughout the whole of Sydney and more than likely New South Wales as a total, just to show there is seriously a lack of rental properties on the market at the moment. And that's a combination from everything that you've just touched on: higher costs of living, not having enough incentive for landlords to really start investing in the market, higher inflation rates, harder to get mortgages these days. So it's just a culmination of just being hit by all of the unlucky sticks and bad luck.
And, people watching here are probably saying, no shit, Sherlock, we've been hearing about this for the last year, but this is chronic. Like, to have these numbers that we're quoting this morning are new. The last week, we've just seen a massive suck up of all these rentals. As a reference, we're the largest rental agent on the Northern Beaches. There's 185 offices. We manage the most amount of rental properties. We normally for lease have 30 to 40 properties. This week it's 6. But now
there's 6. That's scary. And are landlords starting to self-manage? Are they moving away from going through real estate agencies and not going to the portals like realestate.com? Are they doing it themselves and going onto Facebook or?
Great question, and we've got internal information and data on that. The answer is no. Look, the reality with landlords, navigating the landscape of managing a property is getting harder and harder and harder. It's literally like for landlords. It's much, now there's the rental commissioner that's out there. You can do this, you can't do that. You can do this, you can't do that. COVID, you can do this, you can't do that. You can. So for a landlord, it's been quite sticky for us as a company. So if you're offering good advice and support to your landlords, they see value, they stick. So I guess the answer to what you're saying is I actually haven't seen landlords in the moving to self-manage. If anything, I'm finding they're moving more towards our services from self-managing to us, because it's like, this has been a nightmare, please just look after it.
Yeah. Just one less thing to worry about. And like you said, with the commissioner coming in, more red tape, more rules in place, which I suppose in the long run is a good thing, but it will just make it harder for those self-managing landlords to really get everything over the line, legally speaking.
Yeah, and I think when tightening up the belt, there's a lot of other discretionary spending that people are getting rid of. The property asset is the one you want to make sure is a finely tuned animal, and for that to be professionally run. So, but again, I guess that's important. When people are renting property out at the moment, it's just super tight. What I reckon the bottom line is, Xanth, it's uncool and it's hard to be a landlord, and I think they've just exited the market. And I was talking about this yesterday. Superannuation, paying 10.5% towards your superannuation. In the 70s and 80s and 90s, there wasn't contributions into your super.
Okay, so you had more day-to-day spending.
Well, you'd buy an investment property for the future and rent it out.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that's the case, think about it this way: how much of your wage do you save? It's not like you're saving 80%, and it's
Oh gosh,
not like
no.
you're saving,
I'm
right?
lucky to save 30%.
Right. So if super is 10% of that, that's 33% of your savings just wiped out when super was introduced. So with 33% of people's savings wiped out, they didn't make that investment towards the investment property in 2010. In 2000, people haven't trended to buy an investment property. So that rental pool has slowly receded and soaked up, and it's not there for tenants because landlords, people out there don't have as much to invest.
Very true. But we can make it cool. Bringing back the cool to the landlords. Rent vesting. Will it pay off?
Yeah, that's it. And not only that, but landlords can buy residential assets with their super, but there's been a tremendous lag with them trying to get deposits together. As in, it takes a good 10 or 15 years to get a deposit in your super.
That's for anyone as well. Yeah, just not even buying a second property, even just buying your first.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think you may find people are going to be buying their first property within their super because they just don't have that. They just don't have the savings to do both.
Yeah, big time.
So the rental market, it is chronic. It is winter, which is crazy. If it's going to get easier in summer, I don't know. But that's a snapshot on the rental market, Northern Beaches, Sydney, Australia.
Take care, everyone. Yeah.
See you.
Bye.
Thanks, man. Bye.